Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie von Slaughter.
That's right, I managed to capture the wily von Slaughter out there and managed to nail her down, pin her down, tie her down, sit her down long enough to watch a movie and now sit her down to record a review.
Good, now the cops won't be called.
They probably already have been. Anyway, guys, today we are here to talk about the 2017 film Mom and Dad, which stars Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair and directed and written by Brian Taylor. So this movie is something that I don't know if it actually became available on VOD until this year, but I guess technically it got its release via festivals and everything else last year. But I was interested to see it. We did a trailer reaction and it interested us. I don't think you were here for that one.
Nope.
But I'm especially interested to hear Susie's opinion on this, being mother of children. Children.
Demons.
This was an interesting experience. So we're going to do this review like we normally do. We're going to talk about our overall thoughts, then we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, music, cinematography, editing, all that stuff in turn. But to start off, Susie, why don't you go ahead and let us know what your overall thoughts on it. Ladies first.
Okay, so yes, being a mother of the children, there were some parts of it that were really intense that I was like, and he could tell you, I was like, no!
Yeah,
no!
Legit was.
I was like, no! And like I almost had tears coming to my eyes because I was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think it's a really great idea, especially being a parent, because you sometimes just want to, the children, and no, overall, I think it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was done well. You got Nick Cage with his like extremeness of
his
everything,
Nick Cage-ishness.
all that shit. So no, I thought it was overall it was really well done. I liked it. There's some funny parts that I thought were funny. Some parts that I was like, no, like I said, like cringing on the edge, like almost being like, bye Felicia, like I'm not watching this. So but yeah, overall it was good. I'd probably watch it again now knowing what's coming up, and then I can brace myself. So
Yep, fair enough. I thought I was not gonna like this movie for some reason, but I ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would. I did have my problems with it. It by far wasn't a perfect film.
No.
It wasn't even a great film, but it was a solid enough movie that I'm certainly glad I watched it, and solid enough that I would actually recommend it to people.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost us, we have a place called the House of the Used nearby, which means that it's essentially an old school video store where you can buy or rent movies, and you're able to rent a movie for $1 a night. So I ended up being able to rent this for $1 to check it out. It was more than worth $1 to watch.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Honestly, and it's something to talk about. So I think that overall, I have to say that means I enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the story. So the story is very short and sweet. I mean, the world rolls along as usual. Teens are having their dramas, their friend dramas, their boyfriend, girlfriend dramas, and little boys are having their toys around the house dramas.
No.
Typical family stuff. And then all of a sudden, one day, the parents, and it's not like adults just rabidly attacking children. It is specifically the parents attacking their own children, right? So they'll literally run past other kids to get to their own kids in order to harm them.
So how the movie actually opened is when I was like, oh damn.
Right.
Because can I
go ahead,
okay.
You can talk about the opening scene.
Okay,
sure.
so the opening scene in going into it, I was like, oh yeah, these damn teenagers, fuck yeah, like let's cut off their heads, like fuck them, you know what I mean? But the opening scene, you see this woman stop on train tracks with her car, and then all of a sudden you just see the top of this little tiny baby head in a car seat, and the woman just gets out, and you just see this train coming. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, the woman just gets out and walks away.
I was like, no, not the littles, not the littles, not those.
Yeah, Susie, because I was like, it's about parents wanting to kill their kids, and she's like, oh, okay, I can get down with that.
I was like, all right, let's do this.
And then the first scene is a lady walking away from leaving her baby in a car as a train approaches.
Yes, that was like, I was like, no.
And Susie's like, I didn't realize that's what this is going to be. I'm like, well, it's a horror movie. There's bound to be some horrific
like,
parts
Susie,
to
it's
it.
horror. Like, what do you expect? And I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted. I want bratty teenagers, like, getting offed off. You know what I mean? Like.
And then we cut to the bratty teenagers.
Yeah, and then it goes to bratty teenagers, and then I was fine. I was like, oh yeah, kill this bitch. I'll her head off. I was good with it. But yeah, going on, that was the great part. Like the one kid, the boyfriend of the girl that was one of the main characters, teenagers. He went in to take his PSATs,
right?
And you see all like the parents sitting outside and
just like waiting,
just watching, you know,
like hawks, like
yeah,
just
and so
waiting, circling, kind of.
You know, and the teacher didn't understand. She's like, "Wait, don't get out for another 20 minutes." And like the boy, he's done, and he walks past the adults, and he's just like, "Okay, I'm taking my bike home." And you know, then you see behind him, as he's going out, the parents are just rushing in, and then you're kind of like, oh damn, like it's about to go down. And then, you know, he gets home, and then that's when his dad, you know, sees he's been drinking, and he's like, oh dad, come on. And then his dad just like goes nuts. But what what was it that the trigger was like static?
Yeah, like
right?
static on the TV or something like that. It was kind of, that's the thing. It is a little bit nondescript exactly what. At one point, they reveal that static on a TV causes it, but it seems that other adults have been triggered some other way, or at least by that off screen.
Right.
So it's not clearly defined except for that one moment, and then I guess you're just supposed to assume that every parent that is attacking their kids was exposed to this static in some way, shape, or form.
Right, and you know, it was going, like, it's on CNN, they're like, we don't know what's going on, like, how it's being triggered, or why
and this isn't
happening.
A spoiler, it doesn't matter, it's beside the point of the movie.
But then there was one parent that they were interviewing that, you know, they were telling him, like, how, do you think this is good? He's like, no, it's absolutely terrible, but I liked it, you know, because he had blood on his hands because he had killed his son. But in another scene is when the kids are getting called up to, they're in the classroom.
When it first starts about to happen.
Yeah, like the kids are in the classroom, and then all of a sudden these kids get called up to the front office. Then all of a sudden you see these cop cars coming, and they're like, what's going on? And all of a sudden a fire alarm goes off, and all the kids are going to the front to leave, but there's police there, and you see all these parents like, come on, let's go, come on. And the kids are like, what the fuck? Like, why do you want us? And the police are like telling everyone to get back because they didn't know what's going on. And then one kid, he just books it because his mom, you know, she's like, come on, Evan, let's go.
Well,
and
careful, we don't want to spoil too much.
Okay,
We don't want to spoil too much, but one kid makes a break for it, and let's just say it doesn't necessarily end the best for him.
No, but that's when
everything
that's when it came,
breaks
like,
off.
The children see it, and they're, you know, hauling ass.
Everyone
that's
runs
about
away,
that's
and all
when
the parents start scaling the fence and stuff like that.
The parents start going over.
It becomes as one of the characters says, World War Z breaks out at the school.
It was that part I thought was great. It was hilarious. Just seeing like the most the different ways that they were being offed by their parents was actually pretty funny. But
it's not played for necessarily the seriousness of it in that moment.
Absolutely not.
But here's the thing, like, that's the weird thing about this movie. There is some tonal issues, I feel like. Slight pacing issues and slight tonal issues. But we'll get to that in turn. So overall, though, I mean, it just becomes the two main characters, the main girl and her brother, having to survive Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair.
Right.
That's what the crux of the movie becomes after about 40 minutes. Like about halfway through, it's kind of two movies. Like the first half of the movie is everything breaking off and going crazy and getting the kids back home to then confront their own parents, which is the second half of the movie.
Right, yeah.
So that was a little bit weird for me. I felt like I would have been more entertained if it had maintained the pace and vibrance of the first half of the movie, because it kind of became a bit of a bunker survival movie in the back half, and those are okay for me. Not as bad as straight bunker movies, but just not as interesting. It became like almost a typical home invasion survival sort of movie. And that was less interesting to me than the whole setup that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I understood it was the choice. It was like they started, the first half was the Purge 2.
Right.
And then they went down to the Purge 1 for the second half.
Right, because like they, you know, you're really into it because you see all the things on the news, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I want to know what's more. What's happening? What's going on? Like, how is this escalating? Like, is it all over the world?
And they're giving it to you.
Yeah, and it was great. And then all of a sudden, just cut off, and then it was just
now
the
it's just the kids and the parents in the one house. So that was a bit of a disappointment for me, and that is how the story progresses. So I wanted to cover that in the story, but you know, for what that is, they still played it out interestingly enough for me. I dug it, and especially there was a bit of a twist towards the end, towards the very end when you think it's about to be all over, and then the doorbell rings. Then like there was something really good towards the end that like horror royalty shows up, and it's so amazing.
Great. It was so good.
So that's the thing. I have to say, there was a lot of oddness in this movie, but there was every now and again there was a moment that was like, that was a really good moment. And I will say, let's move into the acting, okay? Because I want to talk about Nicolas Cage. This is, like I said earlier, some of the Nicolas Cageiest that he's ever been. Like, he is so over the top at parts. It is unbelievable. And they even give him like a special, like, you know, corner of his forehead angle where he's like, and then you don't know how he's gonna follow it up and stuff, but it's like he plays it up so much, and then like, you know, like banging on the door, come on, mother, gosh, open the door, mother, gosh. Like, it's like, whoa, but at the same time, there is a moment, there is an entire scene that I think is some of his best work. Quite honestly, there is one scene in there between him and Selma Blair, and I thought that moment, that scene almost brought me to tears because it was so real, and it felt more real than, like, it felt like two actors actually talking about what it's like to get older. Even though they have, yes, privileged actors' lives, they still must relate to the feelings that they're talking about because they were so delivered so well in that scene. Like, when they did that whole thing, it was just literally them kind of commiserating about what it's like to get older, from what you think is going to happen when you're young and to what actually happens and stuff like that.
No, that scene,
so
I really
heavy.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro.
Right? It's like, it was so
for
good.
Having kids, it's like talking about,
in the middle of this wacky ass movie, there's this real scene.
But you know, it's funny is that I think it was actually good, the two of them. I mean, if you really think about it, when's the last time Nicolas Cage has been anything good in, like, Selma Blair? Like, you know what I mean? I think they actually can relate to it, because trying to keep relevant, in Hollywood is nowadays is almost impossible, because
they'll always be able to get work, but
of course, but you know what I mean? Like, but even being Hollywood, I think they still were able to relate to that. So they did a really, really good job.
So those two, honestly, like, they both ran the gamut from really good to really over the top.
Yes.
But, you know, the times they were, the times that Selma Blair was over the top were more justified, story-wise. Because when she was over the top, it was when she was kind of crazy. But Nicolas Cage was over the top all the time.
But like, it's good that with Selma Blair, what I liked is when the moment you saw her like snap, but it wasn't anything like extreme. It was just like,
it was just a facial change.
Just like facial change.
It was like, really good.
You know,
she was like, went from concerned to.
She did it really, really well. But
it's time to go kill some shit.
It's time to kill kids. You know, no big deal. And
speaking of the kids, let's segue into the kids acting. I thought it was serviceable. It wasn't particularly great. I actually was kind of annoyed at the boyfriend. Like, he was okay, but he didn't have the screen presence to carry that part. They needed a dude with a deeper voice. Like, his this
is like, they need a dude with a deeper voice.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it should have been me. No, he didn't, like, I get it. He played kid pretty well. Like, he was a teenage boy, it felt like, but it also felt like he took a lot of damage for the size he was. You know what I mean? Like,
there's no way he's getting back up, and how the fuck is he going back up? You know what I mean? So
But still, you know, that's a minor gripe, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the acting of the kids for you, what did you think?
They did their part.
They did their part.
You
So
know
it didn't
what I mean?
it didn't take you out of the story? They did well enough? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't take me out of it either. It just wasn't like the girl did a good job, but it didn't like blow me away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just kind of serviceable, like I said.
She kept the movie going.
I did like, you know what I will give credit to in this? The extras. All of the parents lined up outside the fence.
Yeah! Actually, now that you mentioned,
there was a couple of,
insane.
And even better, the line of dads outside the baby room.
Oh, don't talk.
How messed up was that? When you see the dad, like the one dad on the end, like just like seething with anger, staring at his baby in the fresh delivery room. But give credit to the extras.
No, it was
like,
good. No, it was good. Trust me, it got me. I was like, no. That scene. Oh my god.
So let's move on. You know, the cinematography is what it is. There's nothing particularly to write home about. There's more to talk about with the editing, I think, than the cinematography, because it was what it could feel like to some would be haphazardly edited, like just chop at a lot of times, and then there's some times where we flash back at what seem like really odd moments, but it's consistently odd throughout the film, so it doesn't feel out of place. It feels in keeping with the movie. So, and it does actually provide little breaks in the middle of these tense situations where you're not expecting it. It's like someone literally is swinging a pickaxe at something, and then right before the impact, it cuts to a flashback of, you know, the relationship of this object that's about to get broken, and it's like, whoa, that's jarring, but it works, and then boom, brings you right back into the action. It was actually very cleverly done. Like I gotta say, the more I even think about it, the more I'm enjoying the movie in retrospect. Like, there was some over-the-top weirdness. There were some weird editing choices at times, but overall, I thought it all fit the style of the movie. Did the editing bother you at all?
No.
No? You thought it worked?
Yeah.
It kind of felt a little crankish to me. Did you ever see Crank?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The frenetic action.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to ask you a question and answer it for you.
I'm just thinking about that one scene with Mom.
Oh.
She goes over.
Yeah.
And it's just a straight up. I don't know. To me, it looks like they put his face like. Yeah.
So. Oh god, that was great. I actually loved that. The climax of this movie was really satisfying.
Yeah,
it really was. They did a couple of things stylistically that, like, they're like, oh, clearly we're just reveling in the weirdness of this movie.
Right.
They know that it's weird.
Right.
And they're like showcasing it at the very end, especially.
Because something you might forget, you know, it's like, oh, they're going after children. Everyone is someone's children.
Yes.
Everyone is someone's child.
Everyone is someone's child.
Yes.
And it is delicious.
Yeah. It's so good.
So,
it's so great.
Finally, let's talk about the effects. Now, there's not a tremendous amount in the first half. Because it all happens so fast.
Right.
But towards the end, when you get it, again, oftentimes it is brief, but it's effective.
Yes, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, it really is. And there's some sort of slightly gory reveals that you know
right.
you're like.
I think they really saved it for the end, because when that happens, and like when that point, when the ding dong happens, and then you're like, shit's about to go down, and then that's when it all just kind of gets crazy, but it's so good. Like, it's so great. Like, oh, you guys have to see it. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's an entertaining movie. And honestly, there is something very visceral, and I wanted to ask you specifically about this. There's something very visceral about watching parents maliciously hunt down their kids. Like, especially seeing Selma Blair with a ball-peen hammer swinging it after her own kids was an unnerving image to me, more so than Nicolas Cage with a sawzall.
Right.
Her with a ball-peen hammer.
Sawzall.
I like that. Her with a ball-peen hammer was an unnerving sight to see, just to think that a parent would go that vicious against the kid. Like, that sort of aspect of the story alone makes the movie worth watching to me, because While it has been tackled after a fashion, it's never been straight parents wanting to kill just their kids. And
Right.
to see the passion behind it and like the betrayal that the kids have to face,
I know,
it's
but
just
it's
really
so
well
crazy.
done.
But when you think about it too, it's like when it starts to happen to their parents, like it's just they have to do this, and it's not even a question like why are we doing this. It's just like all of a sudden it is instinctual, and they have to get it done.
Yep.
And it's not even that like they could be killed by It has to be so malicious, like it has to be done by their hand. You know what I mean? Because originally the way that they were going about it, they could have easily killed them had they waited long enough.
Right.
But what really struck me is that the fact that it had to be done in kind of by their hand.
Right.
In every case with the parents, you know. So.
Yeah, and like, and they were, they would use tactics. They would try and get close to them.
Right.
So they would, try and be like, oh, it's okay, come on, it's all right, and I'm sure there were plenty of kids throughout the world that got tricked by that and were killed. Like, the aftermath of the idea of the aftermath of this movie is crazy,
Right, because your parents are supposed to be the people, you are supposed to protect you and you can come to, and then these are the people that are fucking offing you off in trains and shit.
Now I will say that the way the movie ends did disappoint me a little bit.
That really disappointed me. That really kind of pissed me off, actually.
You let's just say, without spoiling anything, let's just say you don't really get the resolution that you're hoping for.
Right.
Or a resolution that you're hoping for.
Literally, this was me at the end. What?
Yeah, it was.
Like,
and I did that inside.
Like, what?
I was hoping it wasn't going to end where it did, and then it cut to black, and the title came up, and I was like, no, come on. So I don't know if that's... Here's the thing. The movie, I looked at the runtime, and we were at 1 hour and 19 minutes when that happened. So I think they easily could have gone another 10 minutes to give us a bit more of an ending.
Yeah.
But they chose to end it where it was, and it was certainly a lean and mean movie. Like, it didn't overstay its welcome. At 1 hour and 19 minutes, when you add credits, an hour and 23.
I'm just so annoyed by, I'm annoyed by it.
I wish, I did sit in there for 1 hour and 20 minutes, so I do wish I would have gotten a better resolution than we got.
Right.
I will say that much. But, maybe they intended to possibly go back to it. I don't know. I don't know, maybe they thought that they would go back. That's the thing. If you're doing a movie and you're planning like, hey, this could be good enough for a sequel, that doesn't mean don't end your story in part 1.
It's true.
Still end your story, and then bring them back if you have to some other way. Leave yourself a loophole, but by God, end your story at least.
Yeah, because that's a big if that's your plan of making a second one. That's a big if.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I don't know, and we're not. There's still some surprises, so we're not ruining anything. Trust me. But let's just say it just was a dissatisfying ending for both of us.
Yeah.
For a movie that ended up being way more satisfying than I thought it was going to be, it did have a dissatisfying ending. So, take that for what it's worth. See if you guys agree. Everything is subjective when it comes to appreciating film. So maybe you guys will really like the ending. Any final thoughts from you on this one, Susie?
If you liked it, you're wrong.
If you liked it, you're wrong?
The ending.
Oh, if you liked the ending.
If you like the ending, you're wrong.
Yeah. But not if you like the movie. If you like the movie,
no, the movie is good.
Yeah.
Just like I said, the couple parts, because there's stuff that we are definitely not spoiling, and I don't even think I could bring myself to talk about one scene.
Yeah, there is one scene that is the most like if you have a child, you will dread this scene, and I don't have a child. I was dreading it for her.
Oh my God!
If you guys have seen Mother, there's a very key scene in Mother that is very similar.
No!
And so, yeah, it's, except Mother takes it way farther.
No!
So, yeah, so anyway.
I will not be seeing that movie.
No, don't. You do not want to see it. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for our review of Mom and Dad. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this one if you watched it, or if this review has swayed you one way or another if you want to go ahead and see it. Again, if you can rent it from Redbox for $1.50 right now, or
why not?
Yeah, give it a go. It's definitely worth $1.50.
I mean, you're gonna see Nick Cage go. Ah!
Nick Cage at his cagiestness.
Yes,
it's really crazy. But again, there is that one scene that is really, really good. the acting-wise, believe it or not.
Yes.
So, anyway, let us know in the comments down below what you think. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie Von Slaughter.
And remember, stay scared.